So I'm very happy to meet you today. We are doing a series on our users. We want to meet them, have them introduce themselves to us and to the community, and also explain how they use our tool to their benefit. So could you please introduce yourself to everybody?
My name is Cherie, and I'm actually an American, but I live in Madrid. And I guess my background, I started in the financial business in 1998. And back then, Raphael, we looked up stock quotes in a newspaper. I mean, that's just how it was, you know. I remember I had some clients who had inherited a bunch of Walmart and AT&T and things like that. And I kind of like looked at it and we got monthly statements. It was a completely different world, right? And back then, because I was with a broker dealer, it was a lot of selling, sell this fund and sell this fund, and this is a growth fund, and you use this for that. And it wasn't very technical. It was just like, the market's always going to go up, you know. Remember, this is 1998, right? And then I was just really lucky when 2000 was rolling around, and I saw everyone with these E-Trade accounts and doing all this crazy stuff. I lived right next to Qualcomm, and everyone's buying Qualcomm stock. And I had my own little E-Trade account, but I said, you know what? My clients are older, and I'm just going to get them out. And I went to bonds, and that is really kind of what catapulted my business, because I had gotten them out. It was honestly totally luck. It just kind of seemed like that was kind of all bubbly. So anyway. And then over the years, I worked with a broker dealer for a long time. And then I moved to create an RIA. So what that is it just, I manage mostly retired people's money. So I'm not a big risk taker. Yes. In my own account, that's a little bit more fun. And I use options and I take some more risk in my own account. But so what I do is through various sources of research and my own take on what's happening in the world and what's happening in the economy and what's happening with a lot of different data factors, I choose the areas that I want to be in. And then once I get there, I use your system. Now, I have to say that in the beginning of the year, when everything was going up, it didn't matter what you owned, it was going to be great. I used your system a lot because I was very actively trading. I would go in, I would go out, I would go in, I would go out. You know, I would have done better if I would have held on to stuff, but I've been in this business too long to know that that doesn't, you know, that can be taken away in an instant. So I was kind of scalping in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And that worked really great. Now I'm using your system a little bit differently because the market's not like it was first quarter. And I moved into instead of a ton of little tiny stocks, I moved into some bigger positions using some ETFs just because that's so much easier when you don't really know what's happening. We're kind of in a transition stage. And so before, where I was using the real-time
updates,
what do you call it? The updates?
Real-time requests, yeah.
Real-time requests, I was using them all the time. And you laughed at me the other day because I am collecting them. It's because I haven't been using them as much because I'm doing more on a daily basis. So I have what I want. I set up my watch list in your account. I also set up watch lists for some of the people that recommendations people give me, just so I can kind of see where they are and kind of track them. And so right now in this stage, I'm not trading so much. So I kind of just use it every day. That's why I'm not using the real-time, the real-time, because I'm kind of going a little bit slower. So what I do is that the thing I like the best is the new thing where it tells me the changes and things. So, you know, you have this position and it says, okay, this one's deteriorating, this one's improving. And I watch that because before I would have a notebook of all my positions and the ones that I knew that were neutral and I wanted to watch which way they were going to go. And I had to do that manually. And now you guys did that. So that's really, really useful. I really like that. So every day I just go in, I do all my morning research, I look at everything, and then I go into your system and I always sort by, oh my gosh, I can't even remember what you call it. Hold on a second, I'm looking at
the ratio.
I always, the ratio, the upside downside. And I first look at the changes, right? Are things improving or deteriorating? Now there's some positions I have on that I have a 1% position on, and I know I'm just going to keep them. So it's like nice to know, but I'm not going to take any action on those. I kind of know. I actually have a list. These are the ones that I know are bearish, but I'm keeping them.
Yes, yes.
Because I have my own reasons, right? And I actually know that I'm keeping them, and sometimes they go the other direction. So, but on the ones that I'm really watching, because it really shows us where, you know, where the fund flows are going, which, like I said, when I started in this business, it was
random.
Well, and not even random. You buy a good company, you buy Walmart, and it's probably going to go up. It might go down, but it's probably always going to go up.
It was feelings.
It's a totally new world. I mean, you can't like these GameStop. I mean, really, like, you know what I mean? The stuff that's happening doesn't have anything to do with logic. So I know that it has to do with the fund flow. So I had to take this dinosaur self of mine and upgrade myself. And that's why your system is so useful to me. So now it's not just about, okay, do I think we need to be in, you know, commodities or equities or bonds? It's where and what are the fund flows? What's happening to the fund flows? Because it's the most important thing now. So anyway, I go in and I click upside downside and I sort it that way. And anything that's over 2, if it's still bullish trend and trade, I will buy it, right? If it's still improving, I'll buy a little bit more. And then I click the other side. And I kind of made up this number, but in watching it over time, whenever it's less than 0.4, I'll sell some. And that was kind of random. First, I was like, okay, 0.3, okay, 0.5. Because it doesn't really matter, right? But it's just that we're getting closer to, okay, funds are going there. I'm just going to sell like a little bit, and then I watch it kind of closely. So for me, I think the biggest tool, because I know what I'm going to buy. The truth is I don't use your system to choose what I'm going to buy. I use your system to find when I'm going to buy it and how I'm going to dollar cost average in. So right now I'm getting into some bigger positions that are just kind of more broad. And sometimes you can't always wait for that. You can't wait for what the fund flows is saying is the lower range. You just can't wait for it. So you go in a little bit. And then what I do is I block trade everything as a percentage. So I say, okay, buy 1% of this at this price. And then I put another order on and I say, okay, buy another 1% at this price at the lower range. And then every day I go in and I see where the ranges change. And then I change my orders. And then sometimes I will go in, but I always leave that one in. And I also do it for sell orders. When the market's moving a lot faster, I always have 2 orders on. Buy 10% of my position, not 10% of the thing, 10% of my position here and buy 10% here. It's just like such a small amount, but it triggers me because, you know, I'm doing stuff during the day. I'm looking at other things and it says to me, hey, this buy order triggered. Oh, okay, let's go see what's happening with that position. And at least I know that I get in, even if it's just a little bit, I get in a little bit, I get out a little bit, but that has been really, really useful for me. So it's basically when the market opens, I look at all of those things and I put orders in because I know what I want to have. And I put buy orders in, I put sell orders in, and then it just kind of helps me. It helps me not stay attached to the screen the whole day too.
I've noticed that as well.
That's happening. So, yeah.
So basically, to sum up, the way you use the tool to match the way you trade is first. So using the watch list system, you can notice if the funds they are going into a specific direction. Let's say, for example, you have a watch list about commodities. You have another one about utilities, another one about let's say tech, and you can see if one of the sector is maybe preparing for a market transition or maybe is all green, while the other is maybe too yellowish, or maybe another one is red. So this will help you to identify where the funds are going. This is the first way you use it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because, you know, you and I were joking. There was one list that I was looking at that I was actually considering buying because I thought, from what I was reading, I was like, okay, maybe I'll do that. And everything was red. I was like, nope, I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah. You asked me actually recently. You asked me about the Bitcoin, the crypto, and you are
Crypto.
like, do you know why it's like going green everywhere, you know? And now what you see is like even Ethereum, it's moving up, you know, it's like, so it was actually the premise of phase transition. Everything was red, and it became yellows and green, and now everything is almost green.
And it happened pretty fast.
Yeah.
I was watching that. It's like, okay, well, that's all red. Okay, I'm not going to do anything. But then when it moves like that, that's when you know that a phase transition is happening, and then I'll be more willing to get in, right? Because I'm watching that.
Yeah, let's hope it's not a head fake, but yeah, for now, I mean, it was pretty cool to witness, like red to yellowish to some stuff going green to now almost everything going green. I mean,
right.
And and the second thing, yeah, you watch is the ratio. So you are watching to know if maybe the move is almost over, and so do you confirm then with another thing like the stocks or the ETF or the asset not making higher high anymore? For you will see in the 30-day high low. Will you then think, okay, the ratio is now at 0.3, even if it's still doing higher high? But this is maybe the premise of doing not doing the higher high anymore, or maybe later even moving to lower low. Do you watch this thing in combination with the ratio? How do you use this?
Yeah,
for example?
Absolutely. Because if it's still making a higher high, you know, if the circle and the plus is still there, then I might sell a little bit. I might sell nothing at all, because I have made many mistakes in the past where I just sell too early.
Yes.
You know, sometimes now you make 15%, you think I would have been happy with that for the year. So I'm just going to take it. So then I'm a little bit more cautious to not sell it. But if that is neutral, then I'll be more aggressive in selling some, because then I think that it could be going the other way. Does it always happen? No, but it's a really good signal. So when it goes, so maybe I'd sell 20% of my position if it was neutral. And then this is when the beauty of that signal change thing happens, because I was tracking that, you know, these are neutral, watch these guys, see what happens. And now you're kind of telling me that every day, the system in the beginning. So that's useful. So then I see if those go red, I just get out, because it doesn't cost anything. And I know it's gonna go the other way. Trends really important, because I just won't touch it if it's bearish, because I learned I had a couple, you know, small cap.
We all have these,
They were bearish, and I was like, yeah, but I really want to keep that stock because I think that company's, that never went well.
No,
so
see, I've noticed that if you really want to keep a bearish trend, because an analyst told you it's the idea of the century. I mean, the thing you can do is when it goes bearish, let's say, and you cut it, maybe you can watch to go back in when we go at the longer term range on the bottom one. This is usually what I will do is, let's say you were mentioning there are some ideas. I think they are long term. I think I can come back to this, but the problem now is the momentum is not there. The macro setup is not there. Right. So I don't want to touch them now because they are bearish, but I can still watch the longer term range and wait for the asset to come as close as possible to the low end of the longer term range. This would be the place I could buy a bearish trend, because I think it's a long term, because maybe it gives a lot of dividends, so the value doesn't matter so much. So that would be the place to do. But yeah, definitely, when you see a bearish trend, just don't try it. It's gonna go down. You don't know how much, but it's gonna go down.
Right, and that's because of flows, like we talked about. And on the other side of that, so this phase transition where we don't know what's going to happen the rest of the year. I mean, given what happened last year, I know that I know nothing, but I did want to get into some bond ETFs. And when I was looking at those, some of them were bearish, some of them were neutral. And that is where I created a watch list and I watched what was happening. Now, a lot of those are bullish. Yes. So I did get in some of those when they were neutral, because I knew my macro view was it was going to go that way, and they were neutral now because they hadn't been going that way. But that's usually the best time to buy something if you have some high conviction for the future. And it wasn't like I was buying, you know, ABC silly stock You know, I was buying.
Yeah. You are buying bonds. You are not buying some shitty small cap
Right.
idea on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I saw this change. I think it was like March, something like this. It happened in the long-term bonds. I mean, extended duration, long-term, and gold. I mean, all these things they switched in March. You had some kind of correction in gold at some point, but the bonds, I mean, they've been working pretty nicely since a long time, which actually doesn't fit the reflation view. I mean, how do you explain that long-term bonds are working so nice since March if you are in reflation? I don't understand. Right. So it means some part of the market were already seeing some stuff that were not in the macro research of that most were thinking about, which was also logical. But
so Raphael, I think that's the best thing about the product for me, is because I've been doing this for a while, that I have my ideas about what things should be doing, and your tool shows me what they're actually doing. You know, back in March, I wouldn't buying bonds. Like that was like, why would I do that? And then when I see those start moving, all that means to me is it's not like what's happening really in the world. It's like, okay, well, what are the big guys doing? Because I'm just a little fish in this pond. Exactly. What are the big guys doing? Well, funds are obviously moving that way, or that wouldn't be shifting. So it helps me kind of keep my logic in check, because this is a new world. This is a new market.
Exactly. So if you had to recommend a way for people to use their account, would be first create some watch lists with some specific sectors so you can follow the money flow. Second is use the signal change to document what's changing recently in the things you are working. It's the little things that make the big things. And maybe third, like you were saying, monitor the ratio in relation to maybe the thing stopping doing a higher high, and maybe basing out from now. That would be the three stuff people should look for when they use my fractal range. This is the way you do, and
and make a watch list. Am I wrong? Am I right? And watch it for a little bit. You know, things that you think are going to happen, and see if that's what the market's actually doing.
That's pretty good.
And then it's humbling. It's very humbling, because we always think we're so smart. You know?
Yeah. Oh my God. I always try, because I have other tools as well. You know, I don't have only MFR. I have some other tools, but usually when I listen to maybe one of the tools, it's a little bit risky. I mean, at least MFR, if you listen like a robot, you're not taking any risk. I mean,
it works. It does. Yeah, it works.
It seems, huh? I mean,
yeah.
And would you have some recommendation on what we should improve? I mean, do you see any direction we should go to? I mean, we are trying to move it to a really risk management tool, you know, something like stop trying to buy because some guy said this thing is good, this thing is bad, you know, and you should short, you should buy. We want them to really use it as a risk management. So considering what you said about the way you were using, I think we nailed it. But do you see some ways we can improve to deliver a better product?
Well, yeah, I mean, this would be a really big ask, but you know, on the first page now you have the most held positions, right, in all of your clients' portfolios, right? Just because that's in your database.
Yes.
What I would love is, so I'm creating these watch lists of commodities, equities, fixed income, ETFs. Like, what if you had like the biggest ETFs in each one of those sections? Because that's kind of easy. Maybe currencies, and then you just had like, what's like, how's the money shifting, right? How's it shifting? Are any of those like, okay, well, now equities are really, really in the lead, and bonds are picking up some speed. Commodities are going the other direction. Do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe choosing top 10 ETFs in each, like in sectors.
Yeah, so some kind of flashlight, okay, the money is going out of commodities and it's going to bonds, and it's getting out of tech, for example, and getting into, I don't know, let's say utilities or something. Okay.
Like I don't have consumer staples on my radar right now, for instance. So I don't know. I don't have any idea what it's doing. That might be interesting. That's a big ask, I know, Raphael, but
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I would like to think technically how to do, but I don't think it's impossible. We were thinking now about actually having the first page when you arrive is not the portfolio. It's some kind of like overview page, you know, where you can see what's manifesting in your account, in other people's account, but also in the world of finance. So this actually would fit the idea of an overview, because I think you are right regarding the way to work. I mean, when you come, the first thing you look at is not portfolio. The first thing you look at when you log in, because you are doing your pre-market work, is the recent changes. Basically, you will look at this. Okay, what has changed currently in my watch list, in my portfolio, that could trigger something like deeper, something going on under the market. And of course, once the market is open, maybe you go to the portfolio and you think, okay, this one I could add, this one I could decrease, etc. But you need a view of the market for that day, because every day is different. And yeah, maybe you have some you have some days that the market would trade yeah, very specifically in relation to a macro setup, and some days another way. But you need a view like this. You need an overview. So
yeah.
I think that would be a great improvement. So I'm writing it down. I need to think about how to make it, but I don't see any obstacle in the future to be able to do this. Any other things that you would be interested to have?
No, it seems like you guys keep coming up with the things that I would have asked for.
Yeah, but it's because people already asked for it. We just put them, you know, on the shelf, and we are trying to make them as we go, as we move forward.
It's just a really great tool, Raphael. I really like it. It's a great tool. It just really helps me.
Thank you, Cherie. Thank you very much. So I want to thank you for taking the time, and you are great. And yeah, please let me know anything you need for the tool. I mean, we need feedbacks. I mean, of course, we have ideas about how to make it better, but there's nothing better than getting the feedbacks from user. And I mean, if you are numerous to ask for it, why would we not deliver it? So just let us know, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Cherie.